October 10, 1940. A German U-boat Wolfpack, operating 53 miles north of Leeuwarden on the Dutch coast, has been discovered by a syndicalist convoy escort and is being driven off. During the chase, they run into the scouting group of cruisers SMS Steinmetz and Bonin, who were active in the area. The British light cruisers Dido, Sirius and Charybdis, under overall command of Admiral François Dallon, decide to press the attack on the German cruiser pair. Steinmetz, after receiving minor damage from near misses of British 4.7 and 6-inch guns, radios for help. The 1st Schlachtgeschwader, which is on the way back from an unsuccessful sortie against the raiding British cruiser group, responds and changes course to assist. The British cruisers, having intercepted the messages as well, disengage from the scouting group and set course north to return to British waters, expecting the German force to sail from their home ports. Little did they know that their course would send them right into the path of the battle line, which is approaching from the north. An hour after the course change, the British received distress calls from the convoy that they were originally escorting. The freighters have run into the approaching German ships, and 3 have been lost. They do realize their predicament when a large number of smokestacks are spotted on the horizon, and soon the British force is locked in a fierce battle with the German vanguard. One of the torpedoes, fired by SMS H-214, finds its mark and sinks the destroyer Kempenfeld, marking the first British casualty of the battle. Realizing that they are trapped, the British radio for help themselves. Meanwhile, Torpedo Bomber Group 2 at their air base in Groningen has been briefed on the situation, and local command has decided to scramble the planes. No fighter cover is available, but the bombers will provide valuable scouting capabilities in case the home fleet decides to sortie, if nothing else. En route, they come across a lone British transport, which has gotten separated from the convoy, and sink it. The British light forces are too fast to be caught by the slow battle line of the 1st SG, but the Admiralty sees an opportunity now that the Hochseeflotte has been located this close to British-controlled waters. Once again, the tables have turned. The fleeing cruisers have led 1st SG into an ambush, and battle is joined with the main line of the home fleet under Admiral Drax, consisting of the battle cruisers Hood and Anson, battleships Warspite, Rodney and Nelson, and the carriers Courageous, Glorious and Furious. Fortunately for the German fleet, this does not come as a surprise. One of the torpedo bombers of Gruppe 2 previously spotted the British formation and reported its position to the fleet. At 1200 hours, the big guns of the High Seas Fleet open fire once more on their arch-enemy. The first shots fall short, but the gunners quickly find the range of the British lead ship and score several hits on Warspite. Burning and under concentrated fire, she and Rodney turn to open up the distance and enact some damage control. In the meantime, the British carrier group has launched all of their swordfish wings against the heavy cruiser SMS Admiral Werner. Furious AAA fire doesn't manage to shoot down any of the attacking planes, but was enough to disrupt their attack runs, and Admiral Werner gets away with only minor splinter damage. Returning to their carriers, the pilots report spotting a large number of ships steaming towards the battle from the east. Germany's 2nd Schlachtgeschwader, including the modern battle cruisers, is rushing to join the fray. Admiral Drax decides for the valuable carriers to make their retreat towards England and orders the home fleet to begin withdrawal maneuvers. At 1600 hours, 2nd SG engages the enemy at over 20,000 meters. The home fleet is now facing a total of 9 battleships and 2 battle cruisers from the north and east. The screening destroyers begin to lay smoke and launch torpedoes to force the German ships away while making steam westwards. RNS Glorious has been attacked by a squadron of torpedo bombers from TG2 and taken minor damage, but no direct hits were scored. Seeing the British turning to disengage and aware of the slow speed of the 1st SG, Admiral Reda orders the fleet to pursue. Hood, the enemy flagship, accompanied by 2 light cruisers, peels off for a rearguard action against the pursuing Germans. In the ensuing fight, RNS Loyal is sunk by gunfire from München, and destroyers Z-15 and V-216 are destroyed by a British torpedo attack covering their retreat. The British ships open up the range. Only 2nd Schlachtgeschwader is able to keep up with them. Still, hits are reported on the retreating RNS Anson, and TG2 has launched their final attack on Rodney. However, British smokescreens and skillful AA fire from the screening ships have prevented any success. Out of ammunition and low on fuel, TG2 returns to their base in Groningen. As the afternoon wears on, the British are now in full retreat. A hit is scored on Hood at long range, but the extent of damage is unclear. Suddenly, the French heavy cruiser Ravachol dashes out of the smoke screens and charges towards the German battle groups. This suicidal attack is meant to draw fire away from the retreating capital ships. Meanwhile, the German forward screens are in furious combat with the British rearguard. Destroyer V-201 takes hits from RNS leads, and one shell causes the main gun magazine to detonate, sinking the destroyer with all hands. At 1800 hours, contact is lost with Furious. The French carrier Louise Michel has been sighted in the area and is briefly mistaken for Furious, but does not join the battle given the general retreat of the Syndicalist fleet. Warspite is briefly sighted through the smoke, having developed a slight list, but still able to make steam, and slips away under the protection of the screening forces. In frustration, the light cruiser SMS Stuttgart, trying to break through the Syndicalist screen, runs into a spread of torpedoes launched by RNS Coventry. Hit twice amidships, she breaks in half and sinks within minutes. While Raeder has a great desire to finish off one or more of the damaged enemy capital ships, the pursuit is becoming costly. As the sun sets, the French cruisers Saint-Étienne, Narbonne, Toulouse, and the heavy cruiser Ravachol all have been sunk during their valiant action, but they have ensured the escape of the core of the British fleet. German sailors stand on the railings, looking somber at the debris floating in the heavy waves of the autumn North Sea. The enemy fought well and skillfully, and they're keenly aware that this could have just as easily been them finding a watery grave on this day. Taking stock, the damage to the German forces is not minor, but all capital ships of the Schlachtgeschwader are still combat effective. Several escort ships are more severely damaged, but while losses are in our favor, 7 destroyers, 5 transports, 3 light and 1 heavy cruiser on the Syndicalist side, for 7 destroyers and 1 light cruiser on our side, the biggest difference is the damage done to the home fleet's core battle line. Even if we cannot catch and sink the fleeing ships, they will need to be docked for extensive repairs. Because the coast is safe for the foreseeable future, and while we do not yet have control of the Atlantic, a repeat of the British blockade from the Weltkrieg is no longer possible due to the alternative trade routes and the Reichspakt controlling Africa from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean. October 1940 has seen the first clash of the German High Seas Fleet against the British Home Fleet since the Weltkrieg. And to some degree, the draw at Jutland has been, well, I would say, taken care of. There's still the remnants of the enemy fleet damaged, but not all sunk, is still active in the North Sea. So after they've disengaged, the third Aufklärungsgruppe has been busy chasing down the remaining ships. And we'll have to see if, and this will be an interesting decision for Raeder, we'll have to see if we are going for the chase or if we are returning to port to repair the damaged ships. Now, the Kaiserliche Marine does not have taken too much damage, but let's go through the battle results relatively quickly because that's actually quite interesting. So from the second Schlachtgeschwader, we've got the Kurfürst Friedrich Wilhelm, Tirpitz class, and she has sunk the Toulouse and damaged the Ravachol and Narbonne. Then we've got the Tirpitz herself, who has sunk the inconstant, and done some damage to the 2 French cruisers as well. We've got the Gneisenau, who has sunk the light cruiser Wolverhampton. And we have the von der Tann, who has managed to sink, this was in a previous engagement, the Bergen, and has also sunk the Edinburgh and assisted with sinking the Ravachol. And then we've got the destroyers and the cruisers. Let's ignore the destroyers, but some of the... Oh no, we've still got the Moltke. Yeah, Moltke has been sinking some ships as well. And over at the first Schlachtgeschwader from the capital ships, the current fleet flagship, the Westfalen, has done a fair amount of damage to all kinds of ships. And we've got the Lothringen, which has done pretty well and we have the Rhineland, and it's, I think, going to be a similar story here for all of them, yes. So we've still got König and Preußen, and the Admiral Werner, who actually came under of the very old York class, as you might have seen in the intro, an old armored cruiser, which has, I think, was the one who came under air attack. So both fleets have done pretty well. There are some relatively heavily damaged escort ships, so these should split off. That leaves us, however, with a potentially slightly under-escorted fleet group. So the question would be, are we going to send all the ships? The capital ships all of them have some damage, but it isn't catastrophic. Now the question would be, do we go for the chase? Because there's still obviously the enemy fleet groups out there, or do we return to port and repair? Now I am sort of tempted to have to combine some of the screens, and the first Schlachtgeschwader is relatively old. However, they have the larger number of they have 6 battleships in there, so that's they still have sufficient screens in the first Schlachtgeschwader. The second, however, is a little deficient. So they've got 5 capital ships. No, it's still okay, but not with the damaged ships out. So what we could do is redesignate a couple of the escorts. Although no, we're going to have to 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 ships have to return. 5 of the screens have to return, which brings us down to 21, which is just enough. I think we can work with slight underscreening, given that the enemy is likely going to retreat. So we'll see if the third Aufklärungsgruppe is going to be capable of respotting something, and then we'll get the Schlachtgeschwader out. We still have the Alsace and the Scharnhorst herself. So what we could do is we could send definitely the Admiral Werner. We're going to send her for repair, and we can probably send one of the more damaged out of the first Schlachtgeschwader. The problem is that the Alsace is relatively slow, so putting her in with the second Schlachtgeschwader is not actually going to be best choice here. But I think the Lothringen is a little damaged. So actually the Kronprinz is worse off. So we'll send the Kronprinz for repairs, and then we'll get the Alsace and the Scharnhorst to join the first Schlachtgeschwader for now. And they are when we will see once they return to port if we get the spotting, if they will be able to give chase. Otherwise, we'll take the victory, just that the British ships are probably out of action for a significant amount of time. At the same time, we have ongoing naval combat in the Cape Verde Plain, so off the coast of West Africa, and that is actually a very interesting one, because our submarines are being chased by a relatively large British force. Consisting of the Valiant, the Royal Oak, and the Revenge, plus 5 heavy cruisers and their escorts. So a large part of the British fleet is actually engaged now in the Central Atlantic. So it looks like the British have sent some of their reinforcements south to try and deal with our submarines more efficiently after we've been wreaking havoc on their transports. As you can see here, the transports are trying to disengage. Some of our submarines are still on the hunt here, and the same here, transports are trying to disengage. In this battle, we have already sunk 2 of the transports, and one of them has escaped. But after taking some torpedo damage. But now we know where the second half of the British home fleet is. So they've actually sent half of their force south into the Central Atlantic, which actually has enabled us to do what we could do in the North Sea. In other fronts, the French have concentrated their air attacks and ground attacks on the fortifications around Belfort, and it looks like they might be breaking through at some point. The infantry divisions are utterly exhausted. There are some Allied divisions that have reinforced this position, but the continuous French advances and the fact that the French are throwing all their fresh reserves into the assault now hasn't given our troops any kind of reprieve at this stage. So we are going to, under potential of a French breakthrough into Belfort, it would not be the end of the world. However, there is an opportunity from Mulhouse to push south into the right flank, because the forest south of the Mulhouse fortifications and west of Basel is actually not fortified. So this is a weakness in the French line in the south, which means I am going to, now that the threat in the north has been mitigated for now, because the British Home Fleet is not going to be threatening the German coastline anytime soon. We have a significant. We should actually have the sufficient naval supremacy. I can probably take probably half of the force here. So let's take 3 tank divisions and three motorized divisions. And we are going to, from von Kluge's Second Army, and we are going to send them south towards Mulhouse, and we are going to give them an order to push into the French rear, potentially all the way up to Besançon, and these 6 divisions need to go here. There we go. So we'll move these south, and they can also be used as a counterattack in case the infantry loses the ground around Belfort. We have some tanks in the area to counter push. The air battle over France is still absolutely raging. However, we have mostly, I would say about 50% of our air force is now somewhat more modern with the Focke-Wulf 190s, and we are facing a wild variety, mostly Hawker Hurricanes, a couple of Spitfires, and the French planes. So right now we're trading 1-5, which is just in fighters, and we are shooting down a significant number of enemy bombers, but they have destroyed some trains on the ground, and obviously the sheer amount of airstrikes in the area is affecting the battle on the ground. The Dutch have joined. I can't click on it. If I click on it, it goes away. So that might be another bug. But weird things. Yeah, the Dutch wanted to join. I can't let them join. I could probably just get them to join through here potentially. I could call Ireland. No, I can't call the Netherlands. It's not in the war. It says I can call it, but I can't. So, okay. Anyway, be it as it may, as long as the Dutch are defending their coastline there, then that's all I need to know. And in the Eastern Front, the mad people from Belarus to Ukraine are actually attacking the Russians all along the lines here. So German troops here are relatively spread thin, but we'll be holding the line. So the Ukrainian leadership has been informed that if they insist on attacking Russia, that is likely not going to end well for them, and we are going to hold the defensive positions and fall back there if need be. We are only operating some scout planes, but the Fernkampfgeschwader is not going to get up in the air because they we literally have no. I don't think we have any kind of aerial clearance over the. Where are they concentrating the air force right now? They're concentrating the air force in the Baltics right now. So it could be, and minor concentration south. It could be possible to start bombing their rear logistics. So that might. The Fernkampfgeschwader is still training. So we'll give that some time, but we can potentially try and launch some bombing assaults on their rear infrastructure. But for now, I think we'll leave that as is and deal with everything else. In the Norwegian front, the troops are moving into position, and the mountain divisions need to recuperate, plan their next offensive, because they're all relatively exhausted, and we have not connected. No, we have connected Oslo. Okay, we have connected Oslo. So the next offensive is potential. We could push south, and that's probably the best option at this stage. South towards Kristiansand and then Stavanger, or we push north towards Bergen. And we could do that as well. We could make a northern thrust towards Bergen, although I'm not sure if supply from Oslo is going to get us there. So usually I would assume that we're running out of supply halfway through. So having the port of Stavanger secured in the south should give us enough supply to start attacking Bergen in the north. Alternatively, there is a supply hub in the north here that we could take, which would on the way to Trondheim. But I'm more interested of clearing out the southern area. So we might do the first push just south towards Kristiansand, secure Stavanger, and then move on Bergen, and then roll up Norway from the south. There's always the threat of a potential British invasion as well. Okay, so many things happening. We are running relatively low on fuel, so we are going to have to trade, and we are very short on aluminium. German East Asian trade of aluminium seems to have mostly been mostly exhausted. So they are. Yeah, they can't really send us any more. So we can trade with the Netherlands for additional aluminium. Actually, the Netherlands are relatively exhausted as well. But we can trade with the greater Austrian states for additional aluminium. So let's get that going, just to make sure that we have sufficient amounts of aluminium. For aircraft production, how's our stockpile in terms of aircraft production? We've got about 100 fighters, so we could bring up another fighter wing, and we've got a couple of heavy fighters as well ready. Yeah, I think two new air wings. It looks like we're positive in production. 2 new air wings in the rear in Westfalen. Let's get these up and running. We are going to get the old Bf-109Ds for training. And I think we had Bf-110s for training as well. So 2 wings up, and they can exercise. And yes, we did need to trade for. I forgot about that oil. Yes, we need to trade for more oil. So from Azerbaijan, we are still maintaining actually the land route, but we can also trade, for example, with the Netherlands. So that is. And with Ukraine. So Ukraine has holding some oil as well. Let's trade with the Dutch. I'm going to just get 2 more factories for additional oil with the Dutch. And I think we were still short on aluminium. Let's get 1 more. There we go. That's good enough. Okay, so we've got green air over Germany. There are still enemy bombers up in the air, but we are shooting them down. Most of our heavy fighters have been lost to accidents. There's not really an awful lot going on in terms of being shot down. And we are shooting down enemy bombers. We could have better radar coverage. So let's have a quick look on our radar situation. Central Germany here is kind of missing radar coverage a bit. So let's get another radar station. We're already building one here. Let's get another one here, another one here. I just want to make sure we have all the line covered in terms of radars. So let's get that to work. And that should be at the bottom of it, yeah. So radar currently, building up the radars is priority. Let's get that all done, and then the rest can come in. So radar stations need to happen, and we need to definitely move the tanks south, because they've already embarked on the trains. They are moving south. So let's keep an eye on the situation. There's also a Russian naval force now has appeared in the Baltic. So we've got a Russian naval force in the Baltic Sea that is currently being scouted by Second Aufklärungsgruppe. We've got the whole British force here going around, and we've got a Norwegian potentially? Yeah, a Norwegian Socialist Republic force being scouted by First Aufklärungsgruppe in the Danish belts. So the naval engagement is going to be very interesting, and we will see where. I think the fleet's currently returning to port. I am going to make sure they're not chasing after the Baltic situation right now, but I would like them to focus on. I would like them to focus on the Eastern North Sea, and we're probably these should be going in. They should be split off automatically, but I've had problems with that before. So I'm just going to manually get the damaged destroyers sent off for repairs, and we'll do the same. Okay, yeah, everything from the first Schlachtgeschwader as well is actually going off for repairs at this point. So I think that's actually too much. So who do we have here? We might have to send them back into the fight, honestly. Not sure. We've got Karlsruhe, Hamburg. Karlsruhe and Hamburg don't need to repair. Okay, they're probably going to be going back for automatic repairs. All right, so it looks like Radar's decision was to send everybody back for repairs. And in that case, we only have the second Schlachtgeschwader available, which is now down to 5. That is not enough escort ships. So I think the first Schlachtgeschwader is currently not in a position to do anything. So we'll take the strike force mission off the first Schlachtgeschwader, and we are going to relocate the escorts to the second, which is going to become the only strike force that we have available. Which means also that that these two ships probably are better off just joining the second Schlachtgeschwader. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so we'll reorganize everything into the second Schlachtgeschwader, which is currently going to be the only one that's active. Everyone else is down for repairs. And we're reinforcing with the heavy guns, despite the fact that the Alsace is relatively slow. Now, the question if we can hold Belfort is going to be an interesting one. So let's see how that's going to turn out. The French are furiously attacking. And we have enemy has air superiority over northern France. Yeah, they've reinforced. They have still reinforced with more planes, and they're also bombing the English Channel quite massively now. So yeah, we are the fight in the air is absolutely vicious, and so is the fight on the ground. Honestly, we're still short on. Material. It's just 1 aluminium. I think we can live with that. So let's see how the fight on the ground is going to happen. Yeah, everyone is declaring war on everybody else, and yes, Russia is invading the Reichspakt. We have noticed that. The news have caught up. Russia invades the Reichspakt. While long anticipated, the outbreak of war between the International and Germany was a dramatic shock. The last time there was war between the great powers of Europe, it quickly spiraled to include the entire continent. Even if they wouldn't act instantly, it was already obvious that Russia, Germany's long, bitter eastern nemesis, has been growing more belligerent in recent years. After much anticipation, Dmitry Romanov made a speech early this morning and declared that, in light of recent years, German hegemony over the world has never been more of a myth. While it only obliquely referenced the war, the speech was otherwise bellicose and was followed by aggressive army postures along the Russian border. Once more, Germany must fight a war in two fronts. The Ostwall. Now let's have a quick look across the Eastern Front and see how the defenses are holding. Russian attacks against Narva are running into the 5th Königlich Sächsische Infanteriedivision, and this does not look too great. We've got 6 Russian divisions assaulting across the line there. The 6th Infantry Division is in place, and we've got 2 here. We've got the 46th, the 46th and the 222nd Infantry Divisions are in place and dug in very deep, so let's see if they can hold that off. These are actually attacks from the area, and the single German division here has to hold back the Russian onslaught across the river. Just because our allies decided that it would be that they actually have a shot at taking on Russia, which at points they might have. So the Belarusian troops here are trying to force a river crossing, and they are trying to expand and correct the front lines. We'll hold the line here. The German troops are here to hold the line, and if necessary, they will have to fall back. And I will just let the other divisions work there at the time being. Somebody pointed out that we do need to divert a division to hold the Kerch Strait, and I do agree. So the question is where from. I'll take the 225th Infantry Division and give them a separate order to ensure that the Kerch Strait is being held, and that Russia is not going to launch an attack across the land bridge towards Crimea. They might always invade it through. They might always run a naval invasion, in which case we'll be screwed. But yeah, we will have to see how that looks. On the Georgian front, does look a lot more stable. We've still got troops moving into place, and yeah, we will have to see how the situation develops there. My bigger interest at this point is going to be in the North Sea and see what the scouting situation is going to be. And yes, the Americans have joined the war as well, to nobody's great surprise. I think the British Home Fleet has escaped. It looks like 3rd Aufklärungsgruppe has lost, which is currently only consisting of Steinmetz. Bonin has been detached for repairs. They seem to have lost track of the British, which is a shame, because that means we are going to, in that case, we can focus back on the Baltic and Danish belt. But yeah, it looks like they've lost track of the British, and the British have managed to escape into their own ports, and we have not been able to catch to identify their fleeing ships in time. And to catch them unawares. We could get where is it? We've got the naval. We've got naval patrols in the Eastern North Sea. So if they ever show themselves again, we will see them. But I think fighting close to Britain is a dangerous prospect, just because we're too far from our home ports, and it'll be chased back. This is nothing of mine, I'm pretty sure. These are not my submarines, are they? No, these are German East Asian submarines. Yeah, if you want to operate in the channel, I would thoroughly recommend against it. Here, with the submarines are escaping from the southern force of the British Home Fleet, and that gets us back to Belfort, where we'll see how long it takes for the tanks to get there. And if we can potentially defeat that French assault. It looks like all 10 divisions are engaged at this point, And Finland has been called into the war, to nobody's great surprise. So the Swedish situation suddenly is becoming a lot more dangerous because the Swedish border in the east is wide open, and we do not have the troops to stabilize that. We are constructing supply for them, but I think the Swedes are going to have to reorganize their front lines a bit because there are big gaps in there. How long is it going to take for the Swedish supply hub to finish? That needs to finish. It's still going to take until January, so I'm not sure they can hold that long. And we have managed to sink 6 Mexican troop transports in the Atlantic. So I'm going to start skipping over the convoy raiding results because where is it here? And we have sunk. Naval bombers have sunk a convoy here as well. I'm going to start skipping over these because they're interesting. Well, that was in the Atlantic, but there will be a lot of them, so I will eventually start skipping over them. Okay, let's keep an eye. It looks like the second Schlachtgeschwader, the reconstituted second Schlachtgeschwader, has set sail. Where are they right now? They are intercepting the Norwegian ships, I believe, in the Danish belts. So. That's something that's happening, and we've spotted some Danish submarines. Danish submarines are being attacked by a French force of destroyers here after trying to deal with some convoys. Let's make sure that the ship repairs are prioritized. Let's get more ports engaged in repair and ensure that we get the fleet back. I think the longest ones are going to be the capital ships, yeah. So Kiel and Wilhelmshaven shipyards are busy repairing the capital ships, but we should get through that relatively quickly. Okay, so let's follow the second Schlachtgeschwader and see if they can engage. And there we go, Battle of the Danish Belts. It's submarines. Why are we engaging a submarine wolf pack with the whole Schlachtgeschwader? That is a questionable decision, and but we have sunk 2 submarines, 4 submarines have been sunk. So while there might have probably been better targets, sinking these submarines definitely has been effective. And let's see if the other two are going to be able to escape. Denmark has signed a peace with Russia. Isn't Denmark in the Reichspakt? No, it isn't. I thought we were inviting them to the Reichspakt. Maybe I misremember that. Invite. I thought Denmark was on our side. Okay, so there is a potential for a Danish. There is potential for a Danish changing of sides. Honestly, so currently they are actually neutral. I remembered that they were on our side. I might have misremembered that. Okay, in Norway. We have pushed south, Swedish divisions here as well, and the troops are sufficiently rested, I think, that we can start expanding our lines here. So let's push out of Oslo and start the move south towards Skien, and the Oslo front can be expanded on this direction. We will eventually need the Swedes to hold the north because we cannot stretch ourselves even further here. But if we can destroy some of the British forces that are in the region, then that would be of great advantage. They are definitely sending reinforcements here now. Let's see if we can manage to leave one division behind. Let's see if we can manage to cut off the British divisions here. But I think we're taking Skien. And we were moving south towards Kristiansand simply because there's there's nothing really behind us. All right, we have lost 2 bombers trying to sink something over the coast of Denmark, and it looks like, oh, this is an interesting battle. Our submarine wolf pack has spotted the Louise Michel, the French carrier that was engaged in the Battle of Groningen earlier, and it looks like, who do we have engaging here? This is the Steinmetz, and one of the convoy escorts, I believe, have engaged the enemy carrier. So let's observe that fight. And there is the battle result that was in the Atlantic, where we have sunk. This is just more convoys. Yeah, submarines been busy sinking convoys, but they have managed to escape. And more convoys here. This was the British force that is operating in the region. So before we observe that battle. There was a decision. No, we've got an ace pilot. That's good. But something else was happening. Yeah, I forgot. All right. So first Schlachtgeschwader is returning to port, and we have a battle in the North Sea happening between a lone unescorted French carrier again. In the same position, so this must have been one of the stragglers from the previous operation, and we'll see. The submarines are coming in as well. She has taken damage from the cruiser. Naval bombers are in the vicinity as well. She shot down 2 Fieseler 167s, but she is trying to run. The question is, are the submarines going to be able to engage and get their torpedoes away? The naval bombers have actually done quite some damage, and torpedo hit on the carrier. That isn't going to be enough to sink her, but she has received 1 critical hit, so something's been damaged. That is the pride of the French fleet. Submarines coming in for another assault, for another attack. The cruiser is doing damage now as well. She is trying to escape, and she's not slow as French ships tend to be, but more damage. No more torpedo hits, mostly from the naval bombers. We've lost 3. Are these ours? These are both ours. Okay, so we've lost a couple of naval bombers on the attack. We'll look at the rest in a minute, and just want to see how this fight is going to end. The carrier is defending itself against the air attack valiantly. If the submarines can land some torpedo hits, that would really make a difference here, because she is about to escape, and the cruiser is landing some more hits. She is listing, but I doubt that she's going to go down here. It's just not enough firepower to catch that escaping carrier. And at the end of the day, unless we can land a really hard hit, I think that battle will end up with the carrier escaping. And I think she has made her way out. And has gotten away. That's just convoys. Double checking, because with naval battles you never know. And these were the Norwegian submarines. So second Schlachtgeschwader should be return. Yeah, second Schlachtgeschwader is returning to port after dealing with Norwegian submarines, and we're respotting the British again. So they're returning to port in Wilhelmshaven. We have a submarine available that can reinforce that can reinforce the third Unterseeboot flotilla, because that is we might not be able to actually get out from the ports. Yeah, that's probably more of the problem. We have no good way to get out, because we will probably have to unblock the Norwegian Sea. So let's get the submarine assigned to the 3rd, and then we'll do that. All right. We are holding in Belfort, actually. Tanks have arrived in the south, in Mulhouse, and we're just waiting for them to plan the attack. More naval engagements everywhere. This Central Atlantic is a hotbed of naval action at this point. More Mexican troop transports being sunk all over the place, and more Mexican troop transport. I think the Mexicans are going to be losing a lot in the Central Atlantic here. Let's have a quick look on Mexican losses in the Weltkrieg so far. Where are they? Mexico, 16,000. Okay, maybe they were not troop transports, because that should have probably been a bit more. Now Finland has started invading the brittle Swedish lines as predicted. So I think the construction of we'll cancel the construction of the supply hub in the east. I don't think the eastern Swedish positions can be held. I think they will lose these positions, and they will have to consolidate in Luleå and see that they can hold back there. The attack south, Skien, has been taken, and we have not managed to encircle the British positions here. So Swedish troops holding right now here, and we are probably. Yeah, we'll probably just keep going, honestly, at this stage. The Schlachtgeschwader at this point, as you can see, is guarding. The big ships are guarding the entrance. This is the Alsace, probably. They're guarding the entrance to the Danish Straits, so there should be no surprises coming in from the British here. And we'll keep running. We'll keep running that flank. We do have 2 infantry divisions ready. I think the 8th Army is going to be in need of further reinforcements. So we'll send them. We will send them to Sweden. And another decision available. We could invade Denmark. So yeah, that must have been the Danish reorientation, because I thought Denmark had decided to join on our side, but apparently they have made peace with the Russians, and it looks like they have a truce with the syndicalists. I think, given the strategic situation in the area and the necessity to secure the access to the Baltics, if Denmark decides to join the syndicalists, this would be a massive problem. So we are going to actually move the 2nd Army north, and we will be declaring war on Denmark. They had to pick their sides, and they have picked wrong. We cannot risk the Danish to join forces with the enemy. So that means we're going to relocate the 2nd Army, and they'll have to take Copenhagen. Now, there are some defensible Danish positions here, obviously. We might have to bring the Marines over, but the Marine divisions are not in a fighting shape at this point. And that means we're going to deal with them there. These are Irish transports, unfortunately, that are being attacked in the North Sea here. But our ships are not operating in the area. How's the 2nd Schlachtgeschwader is ready, but everything needs to repair here. However, we should be combat ready before the British. And on the ground, we are holding Belfort. So yeah, we'll wait here. I'll wait here for the situation. We are declaring war on Denmark. We're moving the army north. Unternehmen Lux is a go. Günther von Kluge is going to run the effort, and is going to make a rapid push. We'll try to bypass the north, and we'll see if we can make a rapid push towards Copenhagen and take Denmark out of the equation. And that brings us back to the eastern lines, where I think the 222nd has been defeated. The push into Livonia in the north here is. It looks like the Russians will be breaking these relatively thinly protected lines here, and there is not an awful lot we can do because we are stripped extremely thin here. So we'll have to keep a close eye on the situation and might have to fall back towards Riga. Any troops that could be deployed on the quick, we have Panzerdivision, Sturmdivision, and more infantry divisions that are being created. That is all for the eastern flank, but so far we don't really have anything to counterattack. And here the lines are holding. We're coming into contact now with the Russians on the northern edge. Is that one of ours? Yeah, this is one of our divisions in reserve here on the northern edge of the Ukrainian defensive line. But to nobody's great surprise, the Ukrainian lines are collapsing. The Russians are counterattacking, and the Russians are going to are coming close to the German lines from the Mariupol position. So Ostwall is starting to take hits now. All right, naval combat in the English Channel. That's not us. The Irish are sending. Irish shouldn't be. Ireland shouldn't be at war with England. As far at least last I checked, they were not at war with England. Okay, so it looks like the British have declared war on Ireland, which means that our submarine positions on the Irish home islands are now under severe threat. But we'll see how the situation develops. For now, we'll maintain submarine operations out of Ireland, but I do not wish to risk any of our troops at this point. And in the Oslo front, we can push the exhausted British divisions further north and use our momentum here, and just have to make sure that we're not running out of supply. These three mountain divisions can be split up somewhat. We'll take the third to move all the way across. It's all about speed at this point, and we can take the second to start moving north already and potentially threaten Bergen while we are clearing out the south coast. Going to take Stavanger, in fact actually no, like this through here, Stavanger, and then return, take the airport, and then get ready towards Bergen as well. Okay, so northern flank holds, southern flank rolls up the territory, and Denmark, the Danish front, is going to be an item very, very soon. Divisions are moving into positions. Air war in France is still... They are still actually reinforcing. Are we seeing... No, we're seeing Colombian and Mexican fighters at this point. But how are our air wings holding up? The fighter wings are holding up relatively well. There are minor losses, but they are being replaced. And they're all relatively experienced, so all in all, in terms of losses, yeah, we are still having a we're still trading very favorably in terms of losses, and at the same time shooting down a large number of French forces. We have a group of dive bombers that we could possibly engage. Träger Stuka Gruppe 2, but I think we'll just use them for close air support in the northern region in case there's any attack towards Dunkirk, and not engage them in the main battle in the south at this point. All right, tanks are in place, and we're just waiting for the motorized divisions. We definitely want to launch the counterattack here. However, I think the tanks are reasonably reasonably recovered. Let's launch the first attack into French territory and see if we can cut open the French lines behind their positions. No, I want south, please. And then see if we can cut towards the southern riverbank near Besançon and see what we can do there against the French. All right, French divisions, 3 tank divisions on the attack. The French divisions cannot pierce the tanks, despite the fact that they are dug in relatively well. I think the only question is how much of the air force is going to be diverted here. But we should be able to move through that and see if we can relieve the southern flank of Belfort slightly. Well, we've got six divisions still stationed in Belfort, but they're all reasonably exhausted from the incessant French attacks. So let's see if the counterattack is going to get the French to slow down somewhat across the line here. They're still attacking northwards, but I think the assault divisions are holding reasonably. Yeah, the assault divisions are holding well. Look at this. This is what you get out of defense stacking. So very brief meta moment where I'm going to. Let's get out of the story mode for a second. I just want to have a quick chat about this, how this works. So the 21st Infantry Division here, that is one of these two. There, the 21st is a veteran, level 5 veteran division. Why? Because this division has field hospitals, which reduces the amount of XP lost, and they're defending, so they're not actually taking losses, which means they gain significantly more experience. In terms of template, that is a 9-2 with support arty and flame tanks and engineers. We've got a complete defensive build here. So we've got the static warfare. I have a let's see. We have Heeresgruppe West under von Hammerschmidt-Eckword, who has the defensive doctrine, which increases entrenchment by 30%. And that means we get a defense from a base value of 300. We get a defensive value of 2,400, which is insane. The fortifications are helping there as well, plus modal and everything else. But the same also for the attack. This is a 9-2 infantry, but it's got almost 600 attacks. So this division is just going to massacre any kind of infantry that comes its way. And that's why defense stacking can be so powerful along these lines, but can still be overcome by area superiority and by throwing enough troops in against the defenses. Also, the difference here between why does this hold and why is Belfort in trouble? It holds because of the attack values. So the 580 attack means that the enemy divisions get exhausted and take losses much more quickly, and that means they don't get to cause organizational damage to the defensive divisions. Whereas here we only have regular infantry divisions, so these divisions have simply 9 zeros just with support artillery. They don't have the field hospitals because they don't have enough of that stuff. And they're still having good values. So if we're looking at the actual ongoing, no, there's no combat going on right now, but they still have relatively good values. We'll see some over here. So these still have a defense of about 800, that's not even mine, 900. But they don't have the attack. So an enemy division can sort of bang on it for longer and eventually bring down the organization and push them out if they try hard enough. Whereas the powerful Sturmdivision, they can't do that easily. Anyway, back to the story. We have which one is this? Flugzeugbau Friedrichshafen. What was I using that for? Naval torpedo bombers potentially. Yeah, carrier planes. So let's get. What can we get there? Oh, well, not much. 5% reliability on naval bombers. No, not now. we'll combine that a bit. I don't have that much air XP at this point, and we are going to have to take a look at. We are going to have to take. Yeah, the British escaped again. We're going to have to take a look at the Eastern Front, especially in the north here, because I think we are about to lose the position near Riga. So I think there the Russians are going to break through here. And that complicates the situation extremely. So I am going to see. I don't like doing this because this division is relatively well dug in, but I'm going to see if we can launch a. They're actually launching a counterattack. Okay, so that's fine. We can we support. We're going to support that counterattack from the north and south to try and push the Russians out from the position again. And I have completely forgotten about the Indochina War, actually. So let's do that at the end, as the end of the episode. Where is... Okay, we've got the divisions. The divisions have landed. And that means we don't... these are the divisions under Paulus, 3 infantry divisions that have been reoriented. So we are going to get them... Where are we going to... Where do we have supply and where can we make something happen? We've got supply here. So I think we will push towards Saigon. So get these 3 divisions aligned here. And our goal is going to be to take Saigon. And I think I can actually convert these into assault divisions, potentially. I don't have enough support equipment or infantry equipment, but everything else is there. So I think we can do that. So let's convert these 2 as well. Sturmdivision, needs a bit more infantry and support equipment, but we should get there. How's our situation? What's the shortage here? 250 support equipment. That's mostly from reinforcements, though. From new units, from deployment. Yeah. So that's all the same with the tanks. This is all from deployment. And I think with that, looking at some more convoys lost, we have again not made a huge amount of progress, but such are the early stages of the war. Definitely a lot of things have happened. We are about to invade Denmark, given that Denmark has made peace with Russia. The eastern front is in Ukraine is rapidly collapsing as predicted. And the line's starting to get engaged now. We had a breach in the line in the north, but we might be able to counterattack here. And whose submarines are Baltic submarines are being chased by a Russian group in the Baltics. Norwegian campaign is going well, and we are running a counterattack against French positions in the south. This is not as much soft attack as I was hoping for, mostly due to night. But forested terrain is not particularly great for tanks. But we will see if we can, given that they can't penetrate the armor of the tanks. We'll see if we can relieve the line in the south, and give the troops in Belfort a much-needed break, while the French are still attacking across the lines here. Lastly, the casualties so far. The Commune of France has taken 139,000 casualties at this point, compared to where are we? Compared to 15,000 or compared to 8,000 on the German side, that is a relatively large number, and the British as well have taken a fair amount of losses. Norway is getting relatively close to capitulation. The hope is that if we can take the Bergen-Stavanger-Kristiansand triangle, that the rest of the Norwegians are going to capitulate, and that hopefully frees up some more Swedish divisions to deal with the to deal with the Finland situation in the east, although this is all impassable terrain, so they should have a relatively strong defensive position in that we don't need to deal with it anytime soon. So all in all, the war has been joined, and it is we are cleaning up some positions now. The Indonesia insurrection. China is doing okay against Japan. No major naval invasions by the looks of it, and no more. And they're at the gates of Pyongyang. And the Russians, the Eastern Front is a bit more of my concern at this point. So I think the next, while Operation Paula is still ongoing, which is the air battle over France, and our work on reducing the enemy air force. Although we look at the amount of bombers they have left, I think they've lost a fair amount of bombers at this point, both to AA and to our fighters, and that means hopefully we can wear down the enemy air force and then go on the offensive. But first, we will launch Unternehmen Lux to secure Denmark and to make sure that they don't suddenly change sides and then invade us from the north. We'll secure Norway. Then comes the attack on France. The Eastern Front has to hold, and the submarines are still busy marauding along the whole Atlantic line, causing casualties to the enemy. So I think all in all, the European war is under control. The southern flank in Azerbaijan is holding, and Africa is firmly under control of the Reichspakt. The Entente hasn't quite joined anyone yet, I think. So I don't think the Entente the Entente hasn't joined any wars, but the Americans have joined. So it'll only be a matter of time until we see both American troops and American ships in the region. So we can't leave our defensive stance quite yet. We are going to maintain the defensive stance in the early days of the war, and secure the borders of the Reich, especially against the British-French situation. We'll remain defensive here for the foreseeable time. That's it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.